Peace, y'all. It's your man Dave with my brother Quest, the man bringing you all things marriage, paying you huge dividends on your investment in time with us. We're talking about love, sex, having children, money, spirituality, life, communication, and anything else to help you thrive and win in your relationships. And guess what? This is grown folks' business. So get ready to make grown-up decisions. You know why? Because marriage ain't for suckers. That's the name of the program. Marriage ain't for suckers. All right, let's get into it. Hey, yo, Quest, it's time to give the people something, man. What we talking about today?
Yes. What up, y'all? It's your boy Quest. Welcome to another edition, another episode of the Marriage Ain't for Suckers podcast, or as my man likes to say, program. Pro Grizzle. I'm your man, your host with the most, Quest, and co-hosted by my Mellow, my Mellow, L. David
on the mic.
Harris, and MC. What up, bro?
Chilling, man. We here, man.
Yeah, man.
We here.
Finally here. So we was laughing.
Face to face last week. We were face to face last week,
Yeah.
but you were in a different venue at that time.
Oh yeah.
So
Spending
it's good
some
to see you
family
back home.
Oh man, praise God. Doing some family, doing the family thing. Sometimes you have to, if you're anything like me and David, like for real, we always got that grind mentality. But luckily, and thank God we are married to the women that we're married to, who,
No doubt.
like, yo, bro, nope. And I remember I had been on the call. Yo, I didn't even share with you. I had been on the phone all day that day, like from the time we left, and we left the house early in the morning.
Yeah.
Just taking care of business. Then we had the podcast. And then later on that evening, I was supposed to have a meeting with some staffers about some stuff in some other areas with some things that we were doing. And she looked at me and she was like, okay. She was like, what did we come down here to do? Did we come down to enjoy each other's company and spend time with family, or we came down here to work?
I'm getting back on the plane.
I was like,
chump your face.
you like, remember this?
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then I just immediately.
Yeah,
I sent
that's
a
right.
text. I sent a text out to everybody and was like, listen, my wife said we are on vacation and I want to get on the phone and have this meeting. But, you guys, let me, I'll take peace. I'm a dude who just love peace, and I'll take it anywhere I could get it. David, they laugh at me when I say piece of chicken, piece of bread, you know what I'm saying? I take peace anywhere I can get it.
Yeah,
and
real
so
talk.
we sent the text out, man, and we enjoyed each other's time. I had a wonderful time, man, out in Texas, man. Went to go buy a Chip and Joanna Gaines place in Waco.
Yeah, I saw the hashtags, man, and Simone and I normally watch that during lunchtime, but lately it's not been on or something. I don't know what happened, but normally that's what we watch during lunchtime.
Oh yeah, man. And
I like those folks, man. Just straight up. They're good marriage material. Man.
Oh yeah, man. Mighty woman and man of God, and they have been able to be fruitful, multiplying. Now they in the area of dominion, man. And they're woven deeply.
Got that silo or whatever it's called up.
Yeah, yep. Both of them, the two silos are there, and they have a bakery on the grounds. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff, man.
Beautiful.
And just the epitome of how beautiful a marriage can be when two people get on one accord, man.
And good on stewardship too, man. They don't, Simone and I often sort of comment on how the programs that we like that are similar to theirs, theirs always come in with some great numbers in terms of how much it costs to do what they do. Yep. So that's a good marriage principle too, man. Yep. Good stewardship, bro.
Yep.
They're not burning people's money.
Nope. And making good of, you said it, good stewardship. That's really what it is.
Yeah, real talk. Reusing stuff, repurposing stuff, collecting stuff for future use, considering the ant, thou sluggard.
Man.
Prepare for the future. So big up to them. I don't know them, but big up to the Gaines.
And he's definitely his gift is definitely making way for him in so many different other areas too. So
yeah.
Man, we need to have a podcast probably on that one day, because there's a whole bunch of gems in that.
Yeah. You dropping jewels, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get started, man. We don't want to burn the time today.
Yeah, man.
Let's get going.
Shouts out to Breathe University. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. Yes, indeed. For more information, if you want to become a part of this community of learners and learning, for real, jump on your computer, open up your browser, go to www.breatheuniversity.com. The last conference, I believe, anything is possible, will be November 12th in LA, West Coast. You know what I'm saying? So for more information, go to etinspires.com/events. We would love to see you in the building.
Nice, man. Hopefully Frank is going to be around. I see Frank is in Arizona right now. Who knows if he can stay in Arizona long enough to just make that hop. But anyway, yeah, good stuff. So I'm going to, say what I got to say. And I'm going to get the web address right, too. Watch this, Quest. You ready? You ready?
Let's get it.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get your free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/marriage.
Yep.
With more than 180,000 titles from which to choose for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Yes,
of course,
indeed.
Today I'm making a recommendation. You don't have to get this one. You can get any one you want.
What's the book?
But I'm making a recommendation for When God Doesn't Make Sense. We talked about this one other time. When God Doesn't Make Sense. This is written by the great James Dobson and narrated by Mike Trout. You may have heard of him on the radio. Both of them, really. And so it's a good one. It's a good one. And actually, the summary, part of the summary says every person who lives long enough will eventually encounter circumstances that are difficult to explain from the Bible. Theologically, he said. And so this book helps you sort of get through some of that tough stuff, man. And we're going to talk about some of that today, Quest.
Yeah.
So
let's get it.
What's good? What's the topic, bro?
You tell me. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna follow your lead today on this
Follow
one.
my lead. All right.
I'm gonna follow the leader today, but I know what the topic is, though.
I know you know.
Yep.
Taboo.
Yep.
When the political debate gets real in your marriage. I'll say it again. Taboo. When the political debate gets real in your marriage. And on our graphic, we had the term real capitalized, all caps. Yeah, I'm shouting. And, I was thinking, Quest, I was watching the news during lunch today with my wife.
Oh, brother.
And I won't say which news outlet. Okay, so I'm watching the news with Simone. And, of course, Puerto Rico is on a lot of people's minds now, especially even in your household.
Of course,
you know, because you have a Boricua in your house.
That's right.
A lot of family and friends that are Boricuas. I do, too.
That's it.
And so let's just say hypothetically, we're not saying this is happening in Quest's or in the Greenhouse Rules house, but let's just imagine, just make this a fake case study. All of the devastation we've seen hit the world, including Puerto Rico recently. Puerto Rico gets a double bang from what I call supernatural disaster. And now there's a big debate about why aid is or is not there. And I said is or is not. So some of you may be holding your head like, what do you mean by is?
And a big debate because it is.
It's a big debate about what is and is not there. Why what isn't there that is obviously not there. Why it's sitting where it's sitting. And all of these other discussions surrounding the political debate, because this is a political debate in spite of the fact that it's a humanitarian crisis. So we're going to use that sort of as a jump off. But, insert here. You may be a person who, if you're in America, you may be a hardcore Republican. You may be a hardcore Democrat. You may
liberal.
Be, using those words that I don't know what they mean. I can look them up. I'm not stupid. But liberal or conservative or moderate or progressive or libertarian. And in the state that I lived the last, we had more parties than you could shake a stick at, bro.
Oh, come
on.
Not
just 2 or 3. We had plenty parties, man. The Mountaineer. We had plenty of parties, man.
Come on.
And in the country where I live now, we got parties. So all I'm saying is it can get crazy in the household when people sort of take their discussion, their rhetoric, their passion, their feelings, and everything else into their marriages related to political debate. So what do you do? What if you're one of the people who thinks that the current party is responsible for not getting water to your cousins in Aguadilla?
Yep.
What if you feel that way? Or if you feel the opposite? Like, how do you deal with that at home?
Yep. Well, my personal belief, D, is what is your moral compass?
Okay, so we're going to use moral. What is that? What is that moral compass?
When I say moral, like what do you use as, because everybody has a reference point. There's a reason as to why you think the way that you do. It might be upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
It might be culture. It might be, for us, the word of God, because we Christians, you know what I'm saying? It might be a number of different things, but I always use my moral compass, and not just for one situation, across the board. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so it's all encompassing.
It's all encompassing. And so number one is, I know that my marriage is something that's key. You know what I'm saying? Once I enter into the institution of marriage, that takes precedence over a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? And although sometimes it doesn't say it word for word, the principles are definitely there. So for me, when it comes to stuff like this, my first mind is to go to, all right, what's the most important thing? What's the order of operations? You understand? It's kind of like algebra. Remember algebra class?
Barely.
And you were trying to work.
Mr. Orozco.
Mr. Orozco. Shouts out to Mr. Orozco at GNYA.
Yeah, man. DR, stand up.
Yeah, no doubt. Great. You know what I'm saying? Woodside Queens, stand up. But you remember when we sat in class, Mr. Orozco taught us an order of operations, right? So if we want to work out a particular problem, you know that you don't start in the middle of if there's
formula equation.
That's right. You quadratic equation, you got the FOIL method. You start with the first two, you know what I'm saying? The outer two, the inner two, and then the last two, and if you start any other way, then you're not going to get the outcome that you want. And so just for me personally, I know that my marriage is first. Now, as it relates to this particular thing, now there may some cultural ties. Maybe my wife, as in my house, my wife and her family's from Puerto Rico. Me and my family are from Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? But just
beautiful
because
kids, by the way.
But just because the problem isn't in Jamaica doesn't mean that it's not a problem for me. Because marriage is priority in my home and my wife is important to me, and that is a situation that's important to her, then guess what? That situation now becomes important to me because it's important to her. So, we talk about the beef sometimes, how two people can, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve one accord, or are you trying to achieve something else?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's interesting. Up until now, I'm not saying y'all got to do this. I'm not trying to run y'all household. But up until this current election cycle in the United States for United States president, my wife only could guess who I was voting for. I'm not saying because you need to keep a secret. Everybody needs to keep it a secret. But for me, I was just like, you know what? I have a personal code. And my personal code precluded talking all my business about that. Not because I was ashamed, but we don't have time to go into why I didn't. Yep. This time it was big enough to where we were having open discussion. But be that as it may, question is, do I love my wife, my spouse in the women's case, husband, more than whatever the issue is at the moment? Now, when I first started voting in the U.S. elections, it was during the time the son Bush, President Bush, was running for office. So it was his first go around before 9/11. Okay. And I was a political novice completely on the issues and everything else, So I went to two people at work. I told you about this, who one was a hardcore Republican, one was a hardcore Democrat. And I chose them on purpose because I wanted them to be the opposite extremes. And I also respect both of them. So I go to the Republican person first. Now superimpose this on your household, y'all. Listen to my story. I go to the Republican person first. And the first thing he said when I said, I don't know anything and I'm trying to figure out how should I vote and blah, blah, blah. Just tell me your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts. First thing he said to me was, vote Christian.
My.
And I was like, I said it. I was like, what do you mean by vote Christian? I'm a Christian, y'all, so no diss. I'm not dissing the concept. I said, but what do you mean by vote Christian? And I won't go into all of the reasons why I asked him, what did he mean? So what did I do, Quest? After we had the discussion, he made himself very clear, articulate. I told you already, I respect him. Went to my other friend and said, yo, guess what? I just got finished talking to so-and-so. This is what I'm after, blah, 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 blah. I realize you're a Democrat. And so-and-so said, vote Christian. He said, vote Christian. He's a Christian too. My second friend. Vote Christian. And then he started to talk about his perspectives of Christian in contrast to the kind of Christianity that he thought that our other friend was talking about. Yeah. So can you imagine now if you're in your household and you got two people in our context, Christian, not always Christian, not all of y'all are Christian, but in our context, two people who call themselves Christian, each of them thinking that one party is diabolical, the whole party.
Yeah.
How you deal with that in a household when if you've taken it now to this moral standard now, because you brought that up, right? Now both of y'all think it's a moral decision to choose one of these two sets.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Like that's an incredible thing to overcome.
But that's what I'm saying. What do you hold as precedence? Because if the marriage's takes precedence, then there's a certain tone that should be running through the house. Then you understand what I'm saying? If the marriage is precedent, then I'm trying to achieve one accord. How do we achieve one accord? You know what I'm saying? And what do we deem as good moral principle as it relates to, we're talking about this stuff right here now. So the fact that it's a humanitarian effort, we're talking about human life. You understand what I'm saying? And so the argument goes back and forth between the house. Let's say I didn't feel the way that my wife feels right now.
Yeah, we're making that up, by the way, y'all.
Right. But exactly. It's hypothetical. Let's say we didn't. Let's say I didn't. You know what I'm saying? How would we achieve that? You know what I'm saying? Knowing
the one accordness flow?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How would we achieve coming to that decision? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like for real, not in allowing the politics of that whole situation to become cause a rift in between me and my wife.
So you know what I'm saying? Both of y'all have love for your loved ones.
Yeah.
And you have empathy and a sympathy for those you don't know in Puerto Rico right now.
Yeah.
And so first thing is, since it's a humanitarian crisis, these are human beings, real human beings, not a political football to kick around.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's number one. Like, what can we do to be of service to these human beings who have needs, if we can be of service?
And the question is that your focus? Because as we're talking about, the taboo topics, like how do we go to the next level if they don't get addressed? I'm not about comfort zones in my marriage. And I think that's basically what we're doing right now is we're talking about, it's not just about politics. It's politics across everything, not just, election or world politics. It's the politics of family. It's the politics of jobs and all of this other stuff. It's just politics, period.
Everything.
Yeah. So how do we not allow that to cause a rift? And I'm saying that what are you trying to achieve first and foremost in the efforts of it not causing a rift in your home?
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to achieve one accord, then you'll start looking at things a little bit differently. Because in me personally, choosing one accord doesn't mean that I always get what I want.
No.
Sometimes it means
that's an overarching principle.
Yeah, so exactly. So sometimes it means totally abandoning what I want in effort. Now, the only time I won't abandon what I want is if what the other person wants or what my wife wants goes against my moral belief or my morals value system. Then that's something total. Yeah, for me.
For you.
For me.
Not for her.
Not
doing
for her.
What she does.
Right. For me. That's the only time that I'll put my foot down and be like, I can't rock with that because I have a moral value system and what you're trying to do. And my wife is probably one of the most moral people I know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's the only time that I'll do that. And so in order for those kind of things to not cause a rift, what do I want more? Do I want peace in my home? Put it like this, David. I want peace in my home up until the point that it becomes a moral question.
And again, the moral question, since this is deliberately muddy water, because these are the two discussions that you don't have at work. It's even in a lot of HR manuals, employee handbooks, religion, politics. Yep. Because sometimes, and I made the distinction, I knew you were too, but just so people could hear it, there are times that people think that because they have a view morally, and let's just say objectively, person A is 100% correct. That's seldom the case, but person A is 100% correct. Person B, though, in the household is not correct. Mm-hmm. Person B is functioning in their own silo. Yeah, they're a part of the family. Yeah, what they do may sort of partially impact the household, but really what they're doing is their thing in their own, and they're not asking you to participate. They're not using your resources to participate, nothing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes person A gets it twisted on that moral concept and starts trying to subjugate the mind of person B. One of the first principles in scripture that keeps us most like God is allowing people the power of choice and independence, man.
Come on.
And so in that, contrived scenario I just gave, I can't be telling Simone how she's supposed to think, how she's supposed to feel. Do I have an opinion? Yeah. Do I share it? Yeah. We got open communication, but I can't flex and be like, this is how you gonna do it. Yeah. Not a grown woman. Why? Because she has volition, just like God gave all of the people that have been created, that he created.
Yep.
And so we got to be real careful about allowing people volition, allowing people to be independent minded, allowing people to make, if it's going to be a mistake, allowing them to make a mistake and maybe learn from it or whatever.
Yep.
But we can't run people's lives, bro. We just can't.
No, absolutely not.
And we don't really want to. That ain't cool.
No. And this is the reason, D, why, in one of our previous episodes, we were talking about emotional health.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why, because people who are emotionally healthy, I'm going to be honest. I know I'm going.
Go ahead, man. We can't have dead space while you hit you.
I know. I'm just saying, I know some people might be angry at what it is that I'm going to say. And that's cool because it's the way that I honestly feel. And I know it's the truth. But 45 is the way that 45 is because I doubt very much that he has a solid self-conception. Real talk. And people who are emotionally healthy have a good self-conception. And if you have a good self-conception, then you don't have to force anybody into thinking the way that you think or operating the way that you operate. You are totally secure in the fact, even if you don't know the fullness of who you are, you know enough of, you have enough intrinsic value to know enough that I don't have to force David to think like I do. Mm-hmm. I don't have to force my wife to think like I do. And not only that, if she has a difference of opinion, I respect her difference of opinion because it's her opinion.
That's what it is, really. I mean, that's really all it is. It's an opinion. It's what I think and what I feel. And if I didn't think, like people used to say stuff like, so-and-so thinks they're always right. Well, if you didn't think you were right, you wouldn't be saying or doing what you did. Like most people don't go out saying I'm wrong unless something's really wrong with them.
Yep.
But most people, we believe we're right. That's why we're moving the direction that we do. So that's not even a good insult.
Yep.
To say why you always think you're right, Quest. Well,
because
me saying that is saying I think I'm right about Quest.
Their politics, as we're talking about this topic, their politics right here in this home. The way that we raise children, you know what I'm saying? And we've talked about it before. The way that it's certain things I ain't fit to take from Nico. Mason is 1 and 15 months. He's about a month and a half coming up on. And there's he's coming up behind Nico, right? And so everything he sees his brother do, he does the same thing. My wife is a lot more loving and nurturing. I'm like, I catch you doing it one more time. That's your tail.
So you're more loving and disciplining.
Exactly. So the politics are always in the home. Yeah. But my wife has a different belief system. But I'm on this thing now where, okay, I'm not tripping because you know what? I don't want the politics of how we see raising children to put a wedge in between me and you. So let's sit down and talk about what are some of the ways that we can attack this thing. We'll try your way. And I'm 100% vested, even though I know some of the stuff because I'm dealing with 2 lion cubs. I already know what the outcome is going to be. But because I want one accord more than I want my own way. Yeah. Let's do it your way first. And let's test it. And here's the thing.
Test it out.
If it works, it's still a win for me.
Yeah.
If it works, it's still a win for me. Why? Because I get what I ultimately want for my children to be raised properly and have a certain fear, not only for God, but for their parents, a certain fear. And when I say fear, not scared, I'm talking about fear, respect. And that's right. When he leaves here, you know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
Yeah.
When I, on that push and pull concept, man, when I was still in the psych field, we had of course we had a psychologist, a psychologist, almost called her name. Mm-hmm. And she had behavior plans that she spent, she had data of certain of the people that we served for 20 and 30 years of those individuals. Mm-hmm. And whenever we would think, maybe Dr. So-and-so wasn't too right on this certain thing, if we just bust up in her office and say, you know what, Dr. So-and-so, this is wrong and it doesn't work, she always pushed back. Like she was like Judge Judy with a psych PhD. Yeah. She just imagine Judge Judy as a psychologist. That was her. Wow. But what I realized was, first of all, that's a silly way to do it. Second of all, whenever I went, I said, Dr. So-and-so, this is the thing. I have a theory about what may be causing a certain behavior problem or blah, 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 may not be progressing in the way that we had hoped because I think, and here's the plan that I think may work. Can we try it out for 2 weeks and then come back? I never got pushback from her. Wow. But every time somebody came to her and was like, that don't work, she would go in on them. And it was not pretty, bro. So yes, it was an extreme example, but my bottom line is if you want peace in your household, if your household can be peaceful, then you need to move like water, man. Don't run up into stuff like a brick wall, man. Water goes with the flow. And when it's necessary, yeah, you might have to stand up. But most of the time, it's not about principle, man. It's about opinion. And if opinion is causing a problem in your household, you need to bow out, like stop that, like cut that out. Real. I don't have no cool way to say that, bro. Just stop it.
Yo, it says that you should be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, B.
Yeah.
You dealing with another adult. This ain't a child. You're dealing with grown. I'm talking about an adult. I can't make my wife do jack.
Yo, the best advice I got? I know you do coaching for couples.
Yeah.
I had premarital counseling with Pastor Henry M. Wright.
Shouts out to Pastor Wright, one of the illest in the game. Man. One of the illest in the game, man.
The first thing he said to us, bro?
He's an old veteran. Yup.
Harris, Simone, neither of you is the other person's parent.
You do that good.
Son, I got baptized, ordained, premarital counseling, trained up in the ministry, all that under the dude. So I guess I got his voice, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what he said. Neither of you is the other one's parent.
Yeah.
And dude, I've had so many opportunities to apply that on my end to say, all right, you're thinking so-and-so. How do you apply it? Boy, wait a minute. That's a grown woman over there. Swallow it. Mm-hmm. Let it roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's beautiful, man.
But because here's my thing. Unless it, like I said before, causes you to compromise your moral fabric in any way, shape, or word. Okay. In any way, shape, or form. Why are you arguing? What you fighting about?
Don't make no sense.
What you trying to?
Don't make no sense.
You see why I say the emotional side, stability is important now? Because now you just arguing so you could be validated now. Like I won the argument, and your dumb tail don't know that you arguing and you think you won, but ultimately you lost because the two of you are one. And if you lose, then guess what? If she lose, then you lose. Oh, come on.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to stop because Quest is amped.
Yeah.
So we're going to move it out like that.
Stay focused. Peace.
There you have it, y'all. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us. Marriage is about mutual love and mutual respect, and it works for those willing to make it work. Real talk, our spouses are treasured jewels given to us to make life better. And the sooner we learn to value one another will be the sooner we become the absolute best versions of ourselves we can be. Until next time, peace. Peace.